Everybody, it's Jillian. So I wanted to show you how to make jelly juice really quickly, and it's really not going to take you a very long time because I'm only going to do it like one time, and then you'll figure out how to keep doing it if you want to fill up a jar. But this is an evolution of the jelly juice protocol because you're not going to be using as much jelly juice. In the beginning, you're going to probably get waterfalls because you need to release the excess poop programming in your colon. Okay? That's really the point of jelly juice, is to take away the old data, do like an actual ancient data dump, which is what the waterfalls are, and recalibrate your system to then be recoded by the food supply. Look, the peanut butter, the oils, the bread. I have an old package of Himalayan salt, but this is all the food supply that your body is going to be recoded with. Okay? What other food supply do I have? I have muffins. I have coffee. I have, what else? I have a bunch of flipping everything. But I have just all types of food. Okay? What else? It doesn't look like a lot, but this is all food supply. The sugar, the carbs, the meats, what's in my freezer. Okay? I have a bunch of stuff in my freezer. Not a lot of stuff, but you see what I have, okay? And then I always use other foods, like processed foods. So all that food recodes your body, your DNA, to the viruses, because the viruses are the programming, and then the pain and the evolutionary symptoms are letting you know that your body is being reprogrammed. So you can't. So the thing is once you do the initial waterfalls and you feel all kinds of ways and everything comes to surface, you could probably get off the J juice. If you're obese, you're going to want to get down to a proportional size. So you might do you might do waterfalls every week. You might do waterfalls once a month. It just depends on what you're willing to deal with. Might microdose the jelly juice. So you'll figure it out when you're underweight, you're going to not want to do too much jelly juice because you don't have enough substance to keep up with the level of the environment, because we have Wi-Fi, we have electricity, we have transducers like the viruses. So this salt, which has pink stuff inside, mix it with the pink and the white. This is an energy source. Okay, this is like a cure. Salt is used to cure meat. When you add it with water, it becomes a conductor. It becomes an electrolyte. And then when you ferment it down to a pre-digested state with cabbage or kale, then it becomes a probiotic, which turns into this. And I've had this for probably over a year. This has so many probiotics in it, it's insane. Okay? So really all you're doing is just taking 1 or 2 leaves right here, right? You take the 2 cups of water, 1 or 2 leaves, and then a tablespoon of salt. You put it inside this, a blender. You blend it up, and then you pour it in a jar to look like this. Okay, it's really not that difficult. And you repeat it several times if you want to get a gallon jar. You can't mess up. Just stay with the 1 tablespoon of salt. Stay with the 2 cups of water. And you could probably take 1 or 2 leaves and put it in the blender. And so as long as you have enough juiciness, right now this looks really like more pulp. This is so fermented that it would be actually slime when you drink it, because it's so fermented. It's been in my fridge forever. Why do I have it? Because let's say I cut my finger, okay? So I just dip my finger in the juice. Let's say my dog cuts herself. I'll use the juice as a topical. I don't really give it to her internally anymore because now she's able to deal with the food supply, and understand how to upgrade to the level of the environment. Okay, let me turn this around. How do I do that? Oh, right there. Oh, there's me. And so, yeah, all animals, when they go through evolution, and humans, I know I look horrible right now, but I don't care. They're going to have symptoms. It's all evolution, okay? So you cannot take things for evolution. You must use the food supply. You must take the bread. Oh my gosh, hold on. Again, take the bread and the peanut butter and the jelly and use all food. Don't use organic. Don't use, local gardens, because that doesn't have the bioengineering, the innovation for you to adapt to the viruses in your environment. And so that's why so many bodies are at a deficit, because they are malnourished. They haven't coded their body to the level of the environment. So it's taking a non-upgraded application and trying to fit it into a CPU that says, okay, we're not aligned. And so that's why people have cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because they have not upgraded their body to the level of the environment. They're stuck in their organic ways, the starvation ways, the deprivation. They're not adding any fat to their body, and they're taking out their organs. They're organ harvesting. They're allowing the Western and Eastern modalities come in and organ harvest, energy harvest. And so this is now finally saying, okay, the new Jilly Juice protocol is that you initially open up your ionic gates and let all of the suppressed evolution come to surface. And then you get off of J Juice almost as quick as you get on it. And then when you finally deal with all your predispositions with the food supply, getting the poop out, you might be using J Juice a few times, get the poop out. But if you're underweight, you shouldn't be using J Juice any more than a few times. And then if you're overweight, you'll probably do it for a while until you get to a proportional size. And then you allow the food supply to recode your DNA. You get the poop out with Squatty Potty's digital method, coffee and cream. And now is not the time to play the organic GMO BS game. It's not the time to play that. And so I have finally revised everything, and I'm going to be revising some of the videos and revising the pinned post to reflect everything that I'm talking about. So it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to make the J Juice, because once you get everything pureed and it's in this jar, it looks like this. Because the recipe is freaking simple. This is like a no-brainer. This does not take too much intelligence to really figure out. You got to have electricity. You got to have a measuring spoon. And you have to have, a blender. And you have to have some kind of jars. And you leave it out for 3 days or more. 2 days or more. 72 hours, whatever. 3 days, 2 days. I forget now. Okay? Or indefinitely. And then you put it in the fridge. And you really don't need to be doing waterfalls every day. You don't need to be doing waterfalls every week. You need to be eating the food supply and putting fat on your body, because that is the insulation. If you are flat-tummied and you're underweight, you won't have enough what it takes in this environment to deal with the piezoelectricity in the viruses. And if you're taking things for viruses and taking things for everything, then you're not going to evolve in our society. You're not going to evolve. You're going to devolve, because people have been using J Juice in reaction to all of their pain. People have been using J Juice in reaction to all of their symptoms. And so that's why they are now in a curative state of decline, not evolving, which then answered my questions of why it is people next to me were not evolving. I got off the J Juice because I was writing a book. I think I did a handful of waterfalls between the first initial COVID discovery to this point. And then when I had the respiratory infection, which means that if you don't get any respiratory infection, you will not know your ability to expel mucus. You must get a respiratory infection. No different than putting your kid in a chickenpox party, but without trying to now react to the chickenpox with antibiotics. You must feel the new variants. If you are immune to all the variants in your society, you are in a curative state of decline. And that's the whole point of the vaccinations, which is not a bad thing, because not everybody can handle the piezoelectricity transducers, the amount of evolution it takes to adapt to an aggressive virus. So if you get the vaccinations, it should be a lesser version. However, everything's a crapshoot no matter what. But if you don't react to people who have different variants, then you're not evolving with your environment. You should be reacting to your environment all the time. The environment is dynamic. It changes. Using too much of the J juice will put you in that curative state of decline. So there's a careful balance of first initially bringing everything up. Okay? But then where people abuse J juice is they cross the threshold and turn it into a negative. And they start curing themselves, which is why I don't see too many testimonies, because y'all were freaking cured. Y'all weren't feeling nothing. Yeah, you're happy, but I wasn't hearing any testimonies. You know why? Because it was like people weren't feeling anything. They were in a cured state, which means that, yeah, jelly juice is a cure, but that's not the intention. The intention is everyone that has never been exposed to jelly juice should do it and feel the evolution, and then never take anything in the Eastern or Western modality ever again. Forget the yoga, forget the meditation, forget the breathing crap, forget all of the hot and cold Reiki yoga, therapies, all the holistic allopathic, I don't care what it is, all your tantric, whatever, all of your empathic healing energy crystals, all are going to go into the garbage. It is totally not viable anymore when it comes to evolution. All the Eastern and Western modalities have caused you to be in a curative state of decline, not wanting to feel your evolution. And that's why you guys are in the state that you're in. That's why you're taking out your uterus. That's why you're taking everything out of your body, because you don't want to feel shiz. You realize I have not had my period since April. I had PMDD, and I don't have PMDD anymore. Yes, I had a few crazy periods going up and down the last couple years, but I don't know when I'll get my period, but now when I did get my period prior to April, I only felt the evolution from that probably the day of. Before, it was like 2 weeks before, and I would be a crazy psychopath. Now my hormones are so calm and so just perfect that, yeah, I don't have any more issues like people do, to cause them to get operations, to cause them to get everything under the sun done to them, and then they are a shell of a person not evolving to their environment. And then they wonder why they feel like shit. They wonder why they're constantly evolving, because they have put themselves in a state of decline where the body wants to evolve, and you keep suppressing the evolution. And so not everyone's going to survive these environments. Not everyone's going to survive these COVID variations because of your belief systems, your practices, the fact that you're using jelly juice as a cure. And so it's like, at this point, I think that someone that's very skinny, they could probably just do with 1 gallon right there and probably do their first initial waterfalls, and they'd be done with it. Let everything just come to surface and be done with it, and finally deal with your evolution. Get the poop out somehow. Find a way to get the poop out, whether digital method, whether it's coffee and cream. And, you could do a few waterfalls, but when you start losing a bunch of weight, you're losing substance. That's why you have to have the food supply, to help you keep up. And hopefully I'm not skipping because I'm switching back and forth. But you need the food supply to help you keep up. If not, I don't know what to say. But I'm going to stop this.